he did it today, it's been done a number of times in this House, has referred to the Prime Minister as corrupt and to the government as corrupt. I would say that that terminology specifically goes against Standing Order 18.
Oral questions, questions orales. The honourable member for Thornhill.
Another day and more evidence of this NDP Liberal Prime Minister that is just not worth the cost. Former bank governor and proud Liberal David Dodge says the new federal budget certainly is not helpful to dealing with the inflationary fire, making it harder for Canadians' families to afford anything. Young people saddled with this Prime Minister's addiction to spending. The call is coming from inside of the Liberal House. Will the Prime Minister listen to experts, to business leader, to his own party, and millions of Canadians struggling to get by and just stop the spending?
Stop it.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
The lowest debt and deficit in the G7, Madam Speaker, a AAA credit rating, and a budget that presents a message of fairness for this country, fairness for current and future generations, a vision that they would cut. They already, before even reading the budget, said that they would not support it. That is a budget that supports childcare, that supports pharmacare, and understanding that Canadians have to have dental care in this country. Canadians who can't otherwise afford it will have the support of this government. And that more homes be built, Madam Speaker. That is vital in this country, and they're standing against every single one of those.
Good answer. Member for Thornhill.
Madam Speaker, the problem is that nobody believes them anymore, and this budget is the opposite of fairness. It is unfair to saddle our kids with billions of dollars of debt that they'll be paying for years. It is unfair to force the inflationary spending onto grocery bills of every single family. It is unfair to keep interest rates high while millions struggle to pay their mortgages. The number of Canadians who can't afford to pay their bills has more than doubled over the last month. So will the Liberals finally fix the budget so Canadians can keep their homes, put gas in their cars, and put food on their table?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition and the Conservative Party seem to be good at posing for photo ops and pretending to care about people in food bank lineups, while our government has introduced the most comprehensive package of competition reforms in Canadian history to increase competition and bring down grocery prices. But how cruel and heartless do you have to be as a party to vote against feeding kids in school?
Shame.
And that party over there has voted once already against the National School Food Program, and we've introduced it in Budget 2024, and we're going to see them vote.
Member for Thornhill.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. That's all I hear from that member. Madam Speaker, the spending spree just isn't limited to the costly government photo ops that he's talking about. He's been here for 9 years. The Liberal insiders and elites are the ones getting in on the action too. We learned this week that the RCMP raided the home of a guy who grifted $20 million of taxpayers for the Arrive scam app. The Prime Minister failed to get the money back. This House ordered it. So will someone over there tell their boss to get the cash back?
That's right.
The Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, as I said yesterday in the House, our government takes the use of taxpayers' money extremely seriously. We welcome investigations. Madam Speaker, that are taking place, including the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, that, as is well known, publicly raided a residence earlier this week. Madam Speaker, we've said anybody who abused taxpayers' money will face the consequences, and of course we will seek to recuperate all money that has been misallocated.
That's right.
The Honourable Member for Manicouagan. Madam Speaker, yesterday my colleague for Drummond read the Minister page 83 of the 2024 budget, which reads, expanding access to halal mortgages. The Minister replied, no, we want to limit it. We just want to explore it, look at it, see if there's anything we can do. And besides, it's private. It's not a government program. In short, a great amount of unease. If they don't know where they're going with their halal mortgages, if it's not up to the government, if they want to frame it rather than expand it, what's it doing in the budget? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Speaker, and merci beaucoup pour la question.
Thanks very much for the question.
Not mean exclusion, and that's why we really need to make sure that we are protecting Canadians with products that already exist within our financial institutions, within private companies. And that's why the government is now announcing to consult with financial service providers and diverse communities to understand how federal policies can protect Canadians from abuses. And I hope that all parties across the aisles can get on board with this to make sure that Canadians in this financial times, in these economic times, are protected.
The Honourable Member for Manicouagan. Madam Speaker, we may have a partial answer. Over the past few months, the media have been reporting dissatisfaction among members of the Muslim community with certain positions taken by the Liberal government. According to Radio-Canada, a Muslim group even threatened to cut off the Liberal Party's funding of $680,000. That would mean they're leaving the Liberals for the NDP and the Conservatives. The Liberal solution, as always, is to pander. Are halal mortgages in the budget an olive branch extended to a fringe of the Muslim community? The Honourable Minister. Madam Speaker, I think the Bloc is going off the rails a little bit. They don't know where they're heading with this. They don't want to vote in favor of the budget, even though there's good things in it for Quebec. There's a whole bunch of things that are important to Quebecers. So they don't want to talk about those things because they know it's good for Quebecers, but it's not good for the Bloc.
Honourable Member for St. Albert Edmonton.
Madam Speaker, this week the RCMP raided the home of the Prime Minister's top arrive scammer, Christian Firth. The raid is connected to a proposal that Firth's GC strategies sent to the Deputy Prime Minister and her former Chief of Staff, Jeremy Broadhurst. So, what communications did the Deputy Prime Minister and her office have with GC strategies regarding a proposal that has led to an RCMP raid?
The Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, again, just because my colleague on the other side of the aisle repeats something doesn't necessarily attach it to the facts. The facts, Madam Speaker, in this case are well known. The RCMP, the one thing that he said is that's entirely factual, is the RCMP are looking into this matter. And that's why I would urge people to be careful before they invent things and ascribe things to what is an ongoing police investigation. Our government has said that people have a responsibility to be judicious with taxpayers' money, and those that aren't will face the consequences.
I remember St. Albert Edmonton.
Madam Speaker, the two-person basement company GC Strategies received more than $100 million from this NDP government, including $20 million for nothing on a Arrive scam. We know of a link between GC Strategies and the Deputy Prime Minister and her office regarding a proposal that has led to an RCMP raid. So, has the Deputy Prime Minister been contacted by the RCMP, and will she fully cooperate with the police investigation?
Honorable Ministre de la Sécurité Publique.
Again, Madam Speaker, my friend on the other side simply asserts a series of things that he knows very well are not accurate and attempts to connect a series of dots that simply can't be connected.
Yeah, that's obvious.
He should stick to the basic facts. The RCMP, following information that was given to them by the Border Services Agency, has decided to look into a series of allegations. They obviously take their work very seriously, and we should allow Canada's National Police Force to do their work and not simply make up stuff in the House of Commons beside the work that they're doing.
Madam Speaker, after 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, Canada has entered uncharted territory. This government has made Canada a candy store for car thieves, and under their watch, organized crime has made Canada a key exporter of deadly fentanyl. Canadians and now the whole world know that this Prime Minister is not worth the cost. This NDP Liberal government must take responsibility for this failure, which has brought crime, chaos, and corruption not only to Canadian streets, but the streets of the whole world. Perhaps is there a Liberal Party leadership candidate who can rise and tell us who's been running this place for the past 9 years so we can hold them to account?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Look,
Fear-mongering does nothing to encourage Canadians to have more confidence in our justice system. We have one of the safest countries in the entire world. We had an Ottawa summit just a few short months ago where we brought all of the different parties together. Since that time, you've seen an increase in the measures taken by police and other authorities across the country, including the federal government, and car theft is going down and recovering of stolen cars is going up. These measures continue to work, and we will continue to work with other levels of government and other necessary authorities. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Since 2016, over 40,000 Canadians have died from overdose. Over $1 billion has been spent with zero results. BC's Deputy Commissioner of the RCMP has confirmed that organized crime is indeed trafficking safe supply. It's going straight from the pharmacy to the hands of criminals, unleashing crime, chaos, and disorder in our communities. After 9 years of this Prime Minister and his NDP servants, Canadians are finding out that they're not worth the cost. When will the Minister of Safe Supply take responsibility for her failed drug policies and put an end to taxpayer-funded drug policies?
L'honorable secrétaire parlementaire de la ministre de la Famille, des Enfants et du Développement social.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We need all partners working together to address the illegal toxic drug supply in our communities. We have and we will continue to support provinces and territories so that they can deliver the full suite resources that are needed. Our government will use every tool at our disposal to end this national public health crisis.
The honourable member for Kingston and the Islands.
Madam Speaker, Canada's support for Ukraine has been unwavering. Unlike the Conservative Party opposite, which has voted against Ukraine multiple times now, we are stepping up our support through Budget 2024. Can the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of International Development please tell this House about the important news for Ukraine through the latest budget?
Hear, hear.
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of International Development.
Our government has been there since day one for Ukraine. Budget 2024 is yet another step in making sure that Ukraine wins in its fight against Putin's illegal invasion. This budget includes almost $3 billion in additional financing, including for lethal and non-lethal weapons, including funding through the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development for the reconstruction of Ukraine, and we'll see how we can use seized Russian assets for the restoration of Ukraine. We have always been there to support Ukraine.
I have a point of order. The Honourable Deputy Government House Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I understand that over the constituency week, the Speaker has indicated that he's going to be reviewing some of the things that have been said in the House to further improve decorum here. I would just like to contribute to that, the reflection that he will be doing. And I'm going to reference Standing Order 18 specifically. Standing Order 18 specifically says, no member shall speak disrespectfully of the sovereign, nor any of the royal family, nor the Governor General, or the person administering the Government of Canada, nor use offensive words against either House or against any other member thereof. No member may reflect upon any vote, and it goes on. My point is, Madam Speaker, today during question period, the member from Regina, Wascana, although he did it today, it's been done a number of times in this House, has referred to the Prime Minister as corrupt and to the government as corrupt. I would say that that terminology specifically goes against Standing Order 18. I would encourage the Chair during this time of reflection over that week that he indicated he was going to do that, to consider my comment on this and to weigh into whether or not this is actually, they keep yelling debate. This is one of the few times I'm actually rising on a point of order that actually is a point of order. But I would,
point of order on information that's been to be provided to the Speaker.
If you could reflect on that, Speaker, and include that in your deliberations and reporting back to the House, whether or not the word corrupt in reference to an individual or the government is appropriate. Thank you.
It's taken up. The honourable member for Saskatoon University on the point of order.
Yes, Madam Speaker. If you ask the Ethics Commissioner about all the infractions that this Prime Minister has been charged and convicted with on corruption, you will find the truth to be that this is a corrupt government and Prime Minister.
Point of debate now.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And I wanted to stress that the discussions, the decisions that the Speaker will have to make in the next few days needs to include, as the Conservatives raised yesterday, the use of false titles. We have the Conservatives repeatedly using during question period false titles, talking about in English an NDP Liberal government, talking in French about a Bloc Liberal government. This is a false and misleading use of false titles, and it is something very much that wasn't permitted certainly during the Harper government in the House of Commons, should not be permitted now.
Portage-Lisker, yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd just like to add, as you move forward with your deliberations on this, that given we had a historic event happen earlier this week with historic corruption once again in this country, combined with the numerous ethics violations, that corruption is an appropriate word for this Prime Minister.
You know, today in question period, we heard Liberal members repeatedly refer to Conservative members of Parliament as mean and cruel. If we're going to go down the road of listing, I'm sure we could sit here, we could scour the member from Kingston and the Islands record with all sorts of language that he's used that we might not agree with. I would just urge the chair that as the office is deliberating on this list, that list of things we can't say in this House of Commons be as short as possible, that we have latitude to engage in our democracy freely and passionately on behalf of our constituents, because I am concerned that we are going down a road where we have way too many things that we are not able to talk about freely, and I don't think that our democracy is helped by that.
I appreciate that point of order as well.